Does anyone here have a high-paying career that allows them to work part of the year and backpack the other part of the year? Trying to figure my life out, want to spend my 20s and 30s traveling while still progressing, slowly if need be, in my career. The typical 2 to 3 week vacation in American jobs isn't enough to sustain my travel needs. Does anyone have jobs that's 1 month on 1 month off? 6 months on, 6 months off? 9 months on, 3 months off? A job where your skill is so in demand you can quit and go travel multiple times but still get a job when you come back. 6 to 12-month contracts where you travel in between. Seasonal business owners? Just trying to take account of all possible options and figure out what's the best for me. I understand I'm not going to be rich with any of these options, but I don't want to have no retirement savings at 50 either. I work 2 weeks on 2 weeks off, with the ability to work 4 weeks on 4 weeks off if I want. I also get 5 weeks of vacation in a row each year. It will be 7 weeks after I've worked there 5 years, and 9 weeks after 10 years. My job is a cargo pilot, so I basically travel for work as is. The pay scale at my company tops out at $215K after 12 years. I'm only on year 2, so I make about $125K. Additionally, perks of the job include free flights and hotel points. This may not have months and months off in a row like you want, but you're literally traveling year-round for work, have plenty of free time for other long trips in your off time, and the pay is pretty nice.
Hey, what's up, Internet? It's your boy, Digital Danny, coming at you live from... Oh, where am I today? Oh, that's right, this tiny little beach in Bali you've probably never heard of. Just another day in paradise for me. But you're not here to hear about how I spent my morning surfing perfect waves, sipping coffee grown in the mountains of Colombia, or jumping off waterfalls in Thailand. No. You're here for something way more important. You want to know how to live like me, right? How to work from anywhere, on any beach, with any drink in your hand, and make your friends back home jealous every time you post an Insta story. Well, folks, it starts with one simple move. A move so powerful, so life-changing, it'll blow your mind. Hit that like button. Oh yeah, and don't forget to subscribe, because when you subscribe to Digital Danny, you're not just subscribing to a channel, you're subscribing to a lifestyle. The nomad life, the good life, the I make money while I'm scuba diving in the Maldives life. Let's be real, you know you want it. So go ahead and smash that like button like I smashed the best fish tacos in Mexico City last week. And hit that subscribe button harder than the Wi-Fi signal I hijacked at this beach bar. Join the Digital Danny tribe. And maybe, just maybe, I'll teach you all how to do it all while barely lifting a finger. Cheers.
Typical example path is 2-ish years of flight school. 2-ish years of working an entry-level job in a small airplane like dropping skydivers, aerial photography, flight instructing, etc. These can be neat in and of themselves, and are often seasonal, meaning you could travel in between. My BF is a pilot also, and at that stage in his career he flew skydivers on a Caribbean island. I had a job flying for a weather company that operated in winter and summer only, so I traveled between seasons. 2 to 3 years at a slightly better entry job like corporate jet co-pilot. Can get some awesome travel experiences this way. Medevac pilot, this is what I did, transported patients back to the US from foreign countries who got injured sick while on vacation, regional airline pilot, etc. Then you start having the experience level to get hired at either a better airline or a heavy cargo carrier. You'll need a 4-year degree to work at RL Delta, FedEx, UPS, and they pay the most, but most of the others will hire without one. I hire there. I love your idea. I'm in my 2nd year, currently postponed, of trying this lifestyle, and the first year was great. I work in the seasonal resort business now. I work in a fishing resort in northern Canada and there are loads of them. But skiing resorts, hunting lodges, and summer camps all offer similar employment. Typically the best arrangement would be working a summer or winter season and then having the rest of the time off. Think 6 months and 6 months off. I don't know how old you are or how experienced, but it can be either a really good starting point for a hospitality career, or you can use any experience in the field to get a good job too. I'll quickly lay out some pros and cons for you when deciding if this is right for you. Pros: most of these jobs require you live on site. Room and board is either provided for free or taken off your paycheck. In all scenarios it's much cheaper than living on your own, especially in a major city. Tips are usually, and should be, part of the pay. If you are new to hospitality, then maybe they won't be that great. Who knows, maybe you will get lucky. Or if not, you can at least be on your way to earning them. In my case at our lodge we are a staff of 12 that split all tips evenly. I travel for 6 months just on my tips. Most of these resort seasonal jobs are in beautiful places. Really beautiful places. Places that people spend thousands to spend a week and now you're home. Your work life and personal life are now one, also a con, and you can make some really amazing connections. I know couples that do this together, and I made a real good friend who I traveled with all winter after working all summer together. Cons. Living on site, remotely for 6 months can be grueling. Even when everything is beautiful. You can't go see your friends, your family, or even get to a bar that doesn't have familiar faces. You are stuck there and that's it. You can't see the place or meet your co-workers until you've committed to the job and trekked how many ever miles to your new home workplace. This is a risk, a big one. I don't have a home. My stuff is at my dad's and I spend time there when I'm not at work or traveling. I'm only 26 and don't mind, but it does weigh on me sometime. Especially now with the virus we are postponed indefinitely. Our clientele is international, which makes opening for us very difficult. It feels weird knowing that if it wasn't for my dad I would essentially be homeless. Relationships are hard. It's a nomadic lifestyle. I won't get into the details of it, but you have to ask yourself about the nomadic lifestyle choice in itself, if that is the right thing for you, just as much as you have to ask yourself if the career is the right choice for you. All in all, I can say I'm very happy. As for your concern about saving money, I can say this. I don't need to spend my salary on traveling because of tips, and even if I had to spend say 25 to 50, I'm still saving more now than when I was living in a major downtown city. It is a career where you can live in paradise for 6 months, travel for the other 6, and save a considerable amount of money while doing so. That, I believe, must be a rarity. I feel blessed to have the job. Now, I did work for almost 10 years in restaurants before I got my gig, and it is management. I'm not saying your first year or two are going to be all rainbows and lollipops and looking at housing properties, but the hospitality industry will shock you. If you put in the time, the work, the dedication and show up every day with a smile and reading to kick some butt, then it will reward you, smiley face. Good luck, fellow Redditor. I did the opposite, and got a high-paying career that allowed me to travel for the job working in product innovation and design. The companies that I worked for would regularly parachute me into the first new client contact on projects that would be from 6 months to 18 months long. To date I have lived and worked in 8 different countries and 12 cities, all paid for by the companies I worked for. I forgot Paris. How could I forget Paris? It's 13 cities, smiley face. I work for an accounting firm, and one of our tax managers worked part of the year there for tax busy season, backpacked for 4 to 5 months I think. It was a win-win for the company and the employee. Even if accounting is not your cup of tea, look for industries that are seasonal. Working on arranging that now, just got delayed because of COVID. Hoping for 6 to 9 months sailing, and 3 to 6 months doing contract work each year. The field that immediately comes to mind as a suggestion is being an RN. As a traveling nurse, you can just take 3 to 6 month contracts. When it's over you go. When you need money, or you see a contract in a cool place, you take it. No specific job to come back to, but tons of demand that's unlikely to let up. More dependable than expecting the same job to be available. Realistically, being a teacher is one option that doesn't actually require that I actually know that much or become super educated. I dislike to admit it, but teaching drama is about inspired kids to open up, work together, and not care about laughing at themselves. Teaching English is a bit tougher, but as long as I can help young people communicate more effectively and understand what they read and support their opinions, we're good. Now, in terms of what you're really asking for, there are people I've come across who have found professions that fit what you're referring to. I've met folk who work in geology and engineering that cater to oil and resource industries in places like the Middle East and Africa. They work long days and for months or weeks at a time, but also get equal amounts off. For seasonal work, if you can find a trade that takes advantage of tourism, which may be a tough option these days, then folks can work during high seasons and have the rest of the year off. Back to my job as a teacher, if you teach or maybe pursue some health fields like physiotherapy, you can work overseas and be immersed in a culture, and have the chance to sign short-term or semester contracts before going on a vacation. Lastly, if you're really smart and willing to work hard for a few years, then live a dream. I have a friend who's a doctor and only works 3 to 4 months a year. He looks around for short-term locums, I think this is how it's spelled, especially those in emergency rooms, makes 1,000 SWK, then has the rest of the year off to travel. However, this does sound a bit easier said than done because I think docs do need to stay on top of their own professional development, etc. Own nursing also works this way. Sign on to work in a place where folks may take more vacations, i.e., summer, jump in and fill in. Then leave and have vacations during the off-season, which actually works well since you can travel for cheaper. My last point, however, is that whatever worked in the past may not work in our new post-COVID world. I've read that air travel is going to skyrocket in price and that traveling for cheap is going to be a thing of the past. Hopefully not. I must add it helps to teach in a place where teachers are valued and make good money. 2 spring breaks, 2-week Xmas holidays, and 8 weeks in the summer are amazing, but can also get expensive. Replying to add some things from another fellow seasonal worker. As far as the con of not seeing the place or meeting your co-workers, yes, obviously that is true. However, the lifestyle and living situations that this affords is for the adventurous spirit, and even though there are some horrible places, lots of fun manager stories, the majority are a fantastic group of like-minded travel, outdoor, hobby, and adventure people. On top of the above excellent, extremely well thought out reply, I'd like to add that although only work half the year is appealing, there are a lot of both summer and winter opportunities that afford you different periods for the seasons. I've had October, November, April off for the past 3 years. Worked in the other months enough to afford the next trip and some local activities and things. On the other hand, depending on where you work and in what capacity, the above situation applies. If you'd like any more info or stories or anything about seasonal work, feel free to PM. Oh, and this is where, www.coolworks.com, you could start looking. From what I've found, most summer jobs start to look early January to February for a May start date and winter jobs around July-August for a Thanksgiving-December start date. I'm a truck driver, pretty easy to get into and in high demand, which means I can come and go as I please. I've had the same job for 4 years. It slows down every winter so I can take 3 to 4 months off and nobody misses me. If you don't mind living in the truck, you can travel a bit while working, although pretty limited to staying near the highway, and easily make 1,000.
As someone who's been around the world with nothing but a backpack and a Wi-Fi signal, I read plenty of travel books, but The Adventures of Mr. Brightside by Ryan Jacobson, now this is the real deal. Imagine living out all your travel dreams, staying in luxury penthouses one day, then stuffing your face with street scorpions the next. That's a wild ride I can respect. Jacobson's got this insane ability to make you feel like you're sitting right next to him, sipping champagne one moment, then scrambling to figure out how to survive in a hostel in the next. The guy's not afraid to get his hands dirty, and he's got the stories to prove it. But don't get me wrong, it's not the outrageous travel antics that make this book shine. It's the way Jacobson finds humor in everything, from getting hit in the face by an elephant, seriously, who does that, to losing himself in the chaos of international travel. His writing style, hilarious, relatable, and exactly what you need to keep flipping pages while planning your own escape from the 9-to-5. If you've ever wondered whether backpacker life or the baller experience is better, this book's got the answer. Spoiler, it's both, but only if you're cool enough to roll with the punches. So yeah, if you want a mix of real travel insights and laugh out loud moments, pick this up. Trust me, your next layover will thank you. Digital Danny signing off, professional wanderer, Wi-Fi whisperer, and lover of all things ridiculous. Link in the description.
Just curious, would having a 4-year degree shorten the time it takes to get through the low-paying jobs and get to one of the big carriers? I've always thought about switching careers, and I have the degree but haven't started flight school yet. While not quite what you're looking for, tech is very friendly when it comes to job hopping and breaks in work. I know plenty of people who pretty regularly work 2 years on, quit, and take 6 months off before starting a new job. Very little impact on your overall career trajectory. I just always wanted to fly planes. When I was a little girl, I would ask my mum to drive me out to the airport to watch them take off and land. The internet provided most of my resources on how to make it happen. You just find a local airport and take flight lessons in a small airplane and work your way up from there. There's also colleges that have pilot programs. I started at my local airport and then transitioned into a collegiate program after graduating from high school. No, it does not. Another step is to fly in a less competitive market or one that has less pilots available. South America and China have opportunities to build your resume, as it were, but it's not a guarantee to land a job at a major cargo or international airline. All of this is great and true, but pay varies wildly. If you're washing boats for $10 an hour in the summer, your off-season plans are going to vary wildly from the bartender low-key making $70K those same 6 months. You can get into management, but the pay is about on par with high-velocity restaurants, and then it just becomes a year-round gig anyway. If you pursue this lifestyle, then you'll want to be smart with your money, IRA, savings, investments. Other things to consider are burnout from not having an actual home and having to move every 6 months, transient relationships, and the infamous Peter Pan syndrome, where you wake up and you're 50, but have not put money aside for your retirement. Put some effort into planning and it can be a very fulfilling lifestyle. Also, that Coolworks website is a good start. I work as an event coordinator and tutor in a language department at a university. During the academic year, I use the breaks to travel on small trips, and then I take longer trips in the summer since I work just 9 months. It is one of the best opportunities to travel, have a job, and not have to commit to a long period abroad. Since graduating college, I've spent one summer as an au pair in Spain and another summer traveling through Colombia and volunteering in a hostel. During breaks, I've gone to Ecuador, Panama, Puerto Rico, Spain, and the UK. It's a bit sad this summer since I don't know if international travel is possible, but I'm hoping to take road trips to parts of the US that are less densely populated, such as Michigan's UP and western states like Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico. That's a very hard number to tally up. It depends on your area, how much of a natural you are at it, the time commitment you can give to it, etc. There's a really large school called ATP that takes people from zero to hero, no experience to rated flight instructor, and it looks like they currently charge $80K. They claim to get you through all your ratings in 9 months, but that timeline is unlikely. 1 to 1.5 years is more likely. I don't think their pricing includes check rides and supplies either, so probably closer to $90K in total. They are not the cheapest option, but probably the fastest. I did most of my training through a more affordable local school and partially through a college, in a low cost of living area. I paid about $55K all said and done. This was about 8 years ago though, so account for inflation in that. This usually takes a bit longer though. Neither smiley face. Those are usually involved, but E's tend to be fixed location and programmers tend to have remote flexibility but are rarely needed client facing. User experience design, industrial design, or interaction design are all good routes. F-15 pilot here, military route, 4-year college, then 1-year pilot training, then 10-year commitment. Then airlines. So at 34 years old minimum you can accomplish your goal. At 42 years old you can retire with $50K retirement and hike $247,000. Came here to say commercial pilot, cargo or passenger. The free flights, depending on employer, extend to immediate family and to a lesser extent friends. The lifestyle is definitely atypical, but if you are a part of this sub you'll probably be okay. The barrier to entry is no joke, but the rewards are huge. At the higher levels of 121 employment we are talking well into the 6-figure salaries with 16 or more days off a month without vacation. Also, the pilot group is, mostly, one of the strongest unions in the USA. I can't stress flight benefits enough. LAX to Tokyo first class, standby and other bullshit OFC, round trip for $64 total. Yes, $64. Downsides are manageable, but not insignificant. As is currently being shown, it's a very up and down industry. Random shoot happens and you can be looking at a furlough when you are about to upgrade to captain. Having a pet while single is really tough unless it's a cat that won't rip your couch up if it's left alone for a week. Relationships are tough, especially establishing them. Let's meet up for a drink. I'll be back in a week from tomorrow, and mostly out of contact until then. If you want to look into it, Google flight schools in your area. Most have a discovery flight available that will let you go fly in a small plane for 80 or so and see what you think. Warning, it's super addictive.
Alright, so listen up, fellow Wanderlust warriors. If you're into travel books that are both hilarious and educational, like actually educational, not just some influencer's recycled travel quotes, then let me put you on to my all-time favorite, In the Sunburned Country by Bill Bryson. Now, Bryson may be an old fogey. Let's be clear, the guy probably travels with a fanny pack full of Rolaids, but the man does some of the funniest research about local history you'll ever read. It's like he'll tell you about a spider in Australia that can kill a horse, and then pivot to the fact that a human being still willingly lives here, sipping a flat white in some beachside cafe. It's absurd. It's hysterical. And it makes you wonder why anyone would leave the comfort of their Wi-Fi and unlimited data plan to come face to face with things that want to eat you. But what really makes Bryson stand out is how he weaves his trip through Australia with its wild history. Like, did you know that the place was basically settled as a giant prison colony? Mad respect to those OG convicts. The whole thing will make you appreciate how epic and insane this sunburned island really is. He'll have you laughing 1 second and genuinely grateful for your chance to experience a country that's simultaneously laid back and trying to kill you in 100 different ways. Anyway, once you've had your mind blown by Bill's comedic genius, pack your bags. Don't forget the SPF 50, and maybe I'll catch you on the beach at Surfer's Paradise, living my best digital nomad life. working remotely, and laughing at how you still think you need to take time off for vacations. Until that day, though, why not click that affiliate link in my description? Not saying I'm trying to buy my next flat white off your commission or anything, but I'll toast to you while I'm basking in the endless summer. Cheers to adventure, questionable decision making, and chasing Wi-Fi in paradise. Affiliate link. Remember to like and subscribe.
My cousin works at northern camps across SK and MB, and he has been doing this for the last 15 years or so. He will take a 3 to 4 month contract. He is a chef, and also has first responder training, so he takes on that role for the camp as well. This is extra pay, and then spend most of the rest of the year fishing in the Caribbean. All your pros and cons are pretty much spot on. It's more about building flight hours to qualify rather than education. It just takes that many years of flying to get to 5K hours or 10K or whatever the major airlines look for. A lot of the airline companies' office staff, like engineers and planners, also get travel perks by the way. Those are positions education can accelerate, though won't be as flexible as pilot schedules. I work a seasonal environmental education job at a summer sleepaway camp for teenagers. I mostly took the gig because it paid well and because I could attend college during the school year, but so many of my co-workers jumped around at these types of jobs throughout the year. My boss, for example, worked at our camp, NY, for the 3 summer months and then worked the fall and spring seasons at an education center in CA. Awesome gig. The pay is typically hourly, but I get paid $20 an hour for a 40-hour week and get housing and all meals through work, so it's a pretty sweet gig. Plus, working with kids and the environment is a pretty rewarding career path, but that's a personal choice. Some of the longer season jobs require a bachelor's degree, usually in some sort of science. But my job required 2 years of a degree in a science field, so it really depends where you're looking. Look for state government job postings, and organizations like YMCAs usually hire for these kinds of positions. The plus side is being outdoors all the time. It's amazing. I'm literally backpacking for a living. Good luck. I love this idea. High paying is a stretch, but I live relatively cheaply, so I can afford to travel for roughly 4 months per year without dipping into savings. I took a sabbatical last year from June to November, and my employers were cool with me doing the same again this year until Corona struck. Luckily for me, my line of work is quite niche, so it would take multiple months to hire somebody else to do the same job before you even get started with training. One thing to keep in mind is that your bills don't just magically disappear. You'll still have to pay rent, bills, insurance, taxes, etc. while traveling, in addition to your expenditure while abroad. It's definitely nice to have the peace of mind that you have something to come back to, but it comes at the expense of saving for the future and your current career progression. Yup, union, schoolteacher here too, smiley face. I now have career security and have a pension I'm paying into, so long-term financial goals are still taken care of as well. I have about 3 months off annually, and I have the same job when I come back. Spent my 30s traveling a ton, with trips to numerous countries as long as 7 weeks at a time during summer. Subletting my place when I'm on the road has helped make things more affordable. Same with couch surfing. The international educational dimensions of being a teacher are phenomenal. And of course, yes, this was all pre-COVID.
All right, buckle up, folks. It's your boy, Digital Danny, here with my hot take on Beyond the Sky and Earth by Jamie Zeppa. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, oh great, another travel memoir, let me stop you right there. This ain't your average backpacker blogging about sipping artisanal coffee in Bali. Nah, Jamie took things next level by heading off to Bhutan. Yes, Bhutan, where Wi-Fi is probably considered a dark art. Picture this. Jamie, a Canadian academic who could have been grading papers in Toronto, decides to ditch the predictable life for a 2-year teaching gig in the middle of the Himalayas. Mad respect. I get it. I mean, I travel all over, but I still need my lattes and Wi-Fi hotspots. Jamie, she's dealing with monks, mountains, and wait for it, yak butter lamps. I'm telling you, it's wild. The best part? She does it all with humor. Her descriptions of Bhutan's quirks actually had me laughing out loud, and that's hard to do without emojis, okay? There's night hunting, buses that smell like they've seen things, and let's not forget dysentery danishes. I don't even know what those are, but I'm already starting to feel like I'm missing out. And don't get me started on how she gets deep into the culture. She's not just sightseeing. She's out here learning Buddhist philosophy, reflecting on her life, and even converting to Buddhism. Think Eat, Pray, Love, but with more yak and fewer Instagrammable cappuccinos. It's honestly refreshing to read about a place where life's pace isn't dictated by 5G networks. If you're looking for something that makes you appreciate the world outside of your feed, this is it. Jamie's writing is so real. You almost forgot you're in a digital age where Bhutan's mystical vibe would probably crash your data plan. So, my final take: Beyond the Sky and Earth is for adventurous souls who want something more than a digital detox. It's a trip, literally and spiritually. Download it if you're feeling like your next adventure should involve something a little more meaningful than just swiping right. Remember, my affiliate links are in the descriptions.